This session will offer a welcome to the module and tell you a little bit about how we learn on leading, managing and developing people. You'll also be introduced to the module curriculum and the structure of the module. We'll then go on and talk about how we assess you on the module, the content of the module and the topics that we're going to cover on a weekly basis. And then we'll have a little bit about what this module is particularly about and finish with some differing perspectives on human resources and the role of the HR professional, which are very important areas for this module. Your tutors on LMDP this semester are Mike Prenson and Christine Daly. You'll see Mike every week in class and you can contact him on m.prenson@leedsbeckett.ac.uk. Christine will be looking at your homework activities and providing feedback every week, and you'll see her from time to time in class. You can contact her on c.daly@leedsbeckett.ac.uk or on either of the numbers there. Please be aware that Mike is a part-time member of staff and he may take several days to respond to an email, so if you have a quick query it's probably better to get in touch with Christine. If you're in the seminar for this first session, then what we're going to do is spend a little bit of time getting to know you because we have different cohorts sometimes who are studying this module together. So that's a very, very important thing that we'll do. And we'll either do that in face-to-face in class, or if you are for some reason attending an online seminar, we will also do that during the live online seminar. Another way of thinking about human resource management as a generic term is to think of it of including anything and everything associated with the management of employment relationships in the firm. So that's quite an all-encompassing definition, going back over 20 years, but still relevant today, I think. So anything to do with the employment relationship, and that's something that we're going to explore on this module, can be classified as human resource management. The second meaning of HR that we're going to explore is as human resource management as an approach to the management of people within the organisation. And one way of looking at that, as defined by Michael Armstrong, is to think of HR as a strategic and coherent approach to the management of an organisation's most valued asset. Okay, so strategic, forward thinking, covering all of the organisation, planning ahead, and coherent, in other words, joined up thinking, thinking about people management from the perspective not just as the HR manager, but also the perspectives of other people within the organisation in other departments who may be managing staff as well. So a strategic and a coherent approach, not just thinking about now, but thinking about the future. This definition from Story takes that approach a little bit further. And what Story thinks of HR is a distinctive approach to employment management, seeking to achieve competitive advantage through the strategic development of a highly committed and capable workforce, using an integrated array of cultural, structural and personnel techniques. So integration, coherence, similar sort of thing. But what Story is thinking about here in this definition is the fact that organisations do not operate in isolation. Most organisations throughout the world have competitors. And human resource management is one way of achieving competitive advantage from other organisations through employment, through the people that we recruit, through the people that we develop, through the people that we performance manage. So actually having a workforce that can help us get to the top and keep us at the top with respect to our competition. There are many different models of human resource management, some of which you'll be introduced to in your strategic context of HR module. One of the most interesting ways of looking at human resource management is through what we call a hard and soft continuum. So on the one hand, we've got hard HR. Under hard HR, it's all about the bottom line. It's all about how we can manage people at the least possible expense so that the least impact is made on our bottom line profit. And Hard HR, this definition is quite a negative definition, but sometimes hard HR does need to be deployed within the organisation. The opposite of hard HR is what we call soft HR. And that's the belief that if we wish to achieve a competitive advantage through our workforce, through an engaged workforce, then we should nurture and develop the potential within that workforce, and think about the way that people behave at work and think about how people are valued at work. In reality, most organisations will deploy a mix of both hard and soft HR techniques, depending on the circumstances in which they are working and depending on the culture of the organisation. But the concept of hard and soft HR is something that's very much worthwhile learning a little bit about, and you can find it discussed in most of the HR textbooks. So we're going to pause here. This is the first teaching session, and it's always a good idea to find out what our students know about HR and what their experience of HR has been. So that's what we're going to do in class, whether it be the face-to-face seminar or the online class. So what's your experience of human resource management in practice in organisations? You don't have to be someone who's got experience of working in HR. Most people will have experience of working within an organisation. If you don't have experience of working within an organisation, you may have done voluntary work, you may have been part of a team, you may have been part of a club where there is some way that people have been managed. So you'll have something to contribute towards this discussion. These days, one of the most well-known models of HR is the concept of the HR business partner. Now, this term was first coined in 1996 by David Ulrich, who is one of the most influential researchers and writers on human resource management of the last 30 years. And what he said was that if HR operations are the engine that keeps the car running smoothly, HR business partners are the satellite navigation system, the sat-nav, that helps guide the vehicle and determine its direction so that it reaches its destination by the best possible route. Please do read up about the concept of the HR business partner. It's relevant to this module. In line with the concept of the HR business partner, Ulrich developed his original HR business partner model, which goes back to 1998. And he sort of classified the role of the HR practitioner into four main areas. First one was strategic partner, change agent, admin expert, and employee champion. And if you look at this particular model, you can see that on the top of this particular square, we've got the roles that have a future or strategic focus, which are strategic partner and change agent. And on the bottom, we have the roles that have a day-to-day operational focus, which are admin expert and employee champion. But if you look on the vertical sides of this square here, you can see that it's also classified this model according to processes. So being a strategic partner is very process oriented, but it has a future or strategic focus. So the strategic partner will sit at board level if there is a board within the organisation and be responsible for the people management side of any future aims, objectives that an organisation has. The admin expert will think about the day-to-day operational focus of that organisation and think about the admin processes that are involved with human resource management, which are maybe not as glamorous as some of the other roles, but are just as important. The change agent has a future or strategic focus, and that focus relates to the people within that organisation. So whilst the strategic partner role may involve sitting on the board, thinking about the people resourcing implications, the L&D implications of any plans the organisation has, the change agent is responsible for driving through those changes that are having to happen at a strategic level. And finally, and no less important than the other roles, we have the employee champion, who's very much a people focus and a day-to-day operational focus, and the employee champion's responsibility is to ensure that staff feel valued within the organisation, that employee relations are working appropriately within the organisation, that there is representation, that there is communication. And those 4 roles are represented separately on this model. But actually, in lots of organisations, you'll find there is a significant amount of overlap, and that you rarely find someone saying I'm a HR strategic partner, but when you look at what they actually do, they may be doing that, they may be change agent, etc. as well. But again, please do read up on this model. It's very well known, and it's the basis of the HR business partner model that does operate in a significant number of organisations globally.